everybody doubted me. Everybody doubted me, questioning what Majima's whole talent was. And I agree with the people. A lot of it seems like it was pointing at balancing, because he says balance a lot and he's balancing a phone. But looks like this episode pretty much confirmed that Majima's talent is actually hearing. At least what we get from the whole flashback with him at the tower is that he was hearing things and he was able to tell people where people were coming from. And yeah, technically he was wearing a blindfold, almost as if he was trying to push out that talent even more. Or maybe he was blind at the time and his hearing was his only way of seeing. Maybe balance is another thing that he has, and maybe hearing is just an added bonus. But no, really phenomenal episode. I really did like this episode. It had a nice balance of having some fun of having some fun moments, some goofy moments, some action pieces in there as well. Just an all-around great episode. And additionally, really obviously setting up for new stuff. Can we confirm at this point, it seems like they're trying to redeem Majima. It really does seem like they're trying to redeem him in this episode, trying to make him into a cool guy. I won't say that his past killing of lots of cute girls is going to be okay at this point, but it really does seem like they're trying to at least put him in the same level to Chisato, at least some sort of bond there. And yes, technically, even though we still have like 5 episodes left, it does seem like they're trying to set up for the climax, which is kind of interesting. In the opening segment of this episode, we finally get the assistant name, which is Himagama, which apparently she is good at cooking, and she mentions like, well, if I, became a chef, do you think I would get something from the Allen Institute? And he's like, no, we don't choose. It's just we support those that have gifts from God, which I'm not sure exactly how you equate that, unless they believe they're divinely spoken to by God. But it kind of ends with her getting prepared, or at least getting together some nurse outfits and stuff before she goes off to meet Chisato, which it does seem like she's been implanted into the DA to be like a nurse in order to do Chisato's physical, which obviously we find out what that is later on. But he does mention to be careful with her. Be careful how you handle Chisato. This is where we go into this goofy little segment where apparently Lycoris is having money problems, so Takina decides to take over control of everything, and this goes into them doing odd jobs, them essentially cutting back on stuff that they do. So every time it shows Takina and Chisato going out to combat, and Chisato starts shooting too much, she's like, you gotta stop shooting so many bullets. No, stops her and pulls her clip out and goes, no, you're using too many bullets. Like everything, like if you're gonna do this, make sure to use the grappler, because the grappler doesn't cost as much. So she ends up grappling Chisato to stop her. I thought that was super cute. It's like they're still handling their jobs, they're still taking down criminals, but it's this back and forth between Chisato and Takina as she's trying to force her to not waste too much money, don't do too much damage, and then like I said, yeah, going so far as to tying her down just to not waste money. Yeah, the whole bomb scene was great as well. Just these people not wanting to pay them for stopping this bomb, but so they're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll leave the bomb to you guys, and then they walk away. We're not gonna pay for that. The guy's shooting at us. We're not gonna pay for that. It was a lot of fun, and the odd jobs are great too. The Japanese lesson segment that was great. Neko, nya nya. And then the handstand thing, which was great. I joked on Twitter about the fact that I'd be in that crowd going thighs instead of handstand. It was good. It was really, really cute little segment. I typically don't like those kind of montages, but it was really well done here. And yes, technically that Takina has devised a new viral food at their location, which is the poop cake. And she finds out later that everybody's talking on Twitter about how she's smiling and holding this poop. Outside of all the fun and shenanigans and saving Lycoris, we do obviously have 2 major encounters here. One being that Chisato at some point finds Majima at her place, and Majima's holds her at gunpoint, and they start talking. And it was really cool because at some point, he does fire at her, and she dodges it, and he's like, oh, that's amazing. How do you do that? She's like, it's a secret. But this gets into a fun, casual conversation. Like, he notices that she likes not Die Hard, and they start sitting there casually talking. And like I said, it feels like right here they're really trying to redeem Majima in some way, kind of pull him away from that psychopath type of mentality and bring him back into something that's more stable, and to have this little conversation between the two of them about the Allen Institute. And I guess this is really a point in which it's kind of starting to plant a seed in Chisato that the Allen Institute isn't out to make great things happen. I like how Majima just like completely jokes about how, oh yeah, I want to have this medal too, so I could do great things around the world, like this goofy little typical award speech or something like that. He just really mocks the whole idea and really is trying to hit heavy on the idea that, look, the Allen Institute isn't out to make, save the world. Why do you think they're just out to just do good? But it doesn't really faze Chisato. Like, Chisato still believes, like, I don't care if you know more about the Allen Institute than I do. All I care about is that the promise that I made with Yoshi. But it does bring up a lot of questions for Chisato and the rest of the team at Lycoris, and the idea of, why is Majima one of these Allen Institute people too? Like, what is his specialty? Why is the Allen Institute supporting criminals? But now Majima obviously leaves because Takina goes to her place and he runs into her outside the building. And of course now she wants to do, like, if you don't answer the phone in one ring or something like that, I'm going to come down to you. I really do feel like Kurumi is turning into slapstick comedy too, because as they go back to the cafe, Kurumi says something like, "Hey Mika, did you hear anything from your boyfriend?" And immediately Mizuki just like karate chopper, and then goes, "Oh, Kurumi, what's wrong? Why did you fall on the floor?" But this is really great because following the scene, we do have this brief moment where Takina and Chisato are outside of the cafe. What's so great about this scene is when I watched it, I immediately seen sort of a parallel with a previous episode. Like in the second or third episode, we had that point in which Takina was at the DA and she was at that fountain, and Chisato came forward and said that she's happy that she met Takina and that she was welcoming her to the Lycoris to, see if you like these people. Be a part of things, get involved, and see if you enjoy that environment. And if you don't, you can come back to the DA. It was Chisato showing Takina that she had a place to be, but additionally letting her have the option. And so why I found a parallel in this scene to that scene is at this point, you have Chisato as sort of questioning the Allen Institute. She's questioning Yoshi. At the same time, she's sad because Yoshi no longer visits. He hasn't visited ever since that one occurrence, when they ran into him at the bar. She's afraid that he no longer wants to see her, and that crushes her because she's always kind of lived her life to try to meet his expectations, to fulfill the promise that she made, and to some point repay that favor. And now he no longer comes by. She almost feels kind of abandoned. And so what I felt in this scene was happening is that Takina at this point realizes that she's lost, and she's sort of trying to remind Chisato that she has a place. Chisato's joking about how you're really active lately, and she's like, yeah, I wanted to make sure this place doesn't go under. This is a special place to you, isn't it? At the same time, while she's sitting there polishing her gun that she got from Yoshi, Takina gives her a gift. Almost like trying to replace a memory with another memory, to show her that she has something now. Don't worry, if Yoshi's gone, I'm here. You have a place. And like I said, it was a parallel there. It's almost like Takina is repaying the favor to her, to show her that she has a place to be. A place that welcomes her. If Yoshi won't accept you, we will accept you. And it really hit me hard the moment I kind of realized that was what was kind of happening there. It's not the same exact thing, but it is technically going for the same concept. Yes, that's where we find out that why Chisato doesn't want to go to her physicals, because she doesn't like needles. She's like, you don't like needles, but you'll take bullets? She's like, yeah, because I get to dodge bullets. I can't dodge the needle. Which, yes, cuts to Himegama doing the physical for Chisato and injecting her with some sort of thing to put her to sleep so that she can take her in the back room and put all these things inside of her to zap her with a bunch of voltage into her heart. So, yeah, obviously Himegama is not killing Chisato. What I'm assuming here is that they're essentially they're setting a bomb. They're setting up Chisato to be this explosion inside of the DA. What I'm assuming is going to happen with this injection of electricity, when I first seen this scene, I was assuming it was going to be, okay, maybe she has to be recharged every now and then, and this is a way of recharging it. But no, now that I think about it, because we just had this brief re-showing of what happened in the past at the tower, my mind is starting to go towards the idea that when the tower incident happened, my initial thought that happened with the tower incident was that was the point in which she lost her heart, and then the Allen Institute saved her by giving her this heart. But now what I'm thinking is that incident at the tower, that was her overloaded as well. And so what I think is happening is now they're doing it again. At the DA, Himegama is essentially injecting her with so much voltage that it's going to make her basically overrun. Like, she's going to have so much blood pumping, her mind's going to be on overdrive, and she's going to create basically a massacre. So Himegama is going to inject her with his electricity. Chisato's going to go berserk. She's going to go crazy in this DA. Takina, already heading that way, is going to arrive and have to stop Chisato. we already know that Yoshi has something against the DA. That's why he's been trying to push Majima, and they've been trying to push Chisato. And it's all technically leading up to this one point where he sends her berserk. And yes, the episode's ended with Yoshi basically saying, it's all your fault, Mika. Which, again, I think that is him essentially saying, you pushed me to have to do this. Like, I had to force her. Because you kept her in that environment, because she's not supposed to be in an environment where she's peaceful and she's happy and she's not taking down anybody, this has forced me to have to overload her and force her into a situation where she's going to take that whole place down. One thing I forgot to note was that it was interesting to see that in the flashback, Chisato then was still using non-lethal too. I kind of thought that back then, based on the previous flashback that Majima had, is that she wasn't using non-lethal, that she was actually going around taking everybody out. Granted, they were all probably unconscious, and then the whole tower came down, so they probably all died anyways, but it was kind of an interesting note. Anyways, great episode. Love the scene between Takina and Chisato. Absolutely love the thighs scene. A lot of goofy shenanigans. Again, I'm still kind of mixed on Majima becoming a good person. Now, granted, like I said, I really like that scene. I think it was really well done. It still had a little bit of sense of his craziness in there, but it kind of toned him down a little bit. And then, of course, yes, the final scene. Setting up for next episode, I am going to be clamoring for the next episode drop. When the next episode drops, I'm going to be like there. So hope you guys will join me next week for that, because it's going to be probably a doozy. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.